think anyone who's taken mushrooms can really relate.
Welcome to SinCast, presented by Cinemasins.
All right, everybody, welcome to the SinCast. This is Chris Atkinson from Cinemasins, joined by Barrett Scher from Music Video Sins and Cinemasins.
Ew.
And today we have a special guest, director Lorcan Finnegan, who has a movie called VIVARIUM coming out. I'm pronouncing that right?
Yeah.
Is VIVARIUM or Vivarium?
I don't really know. I think in the UK and Ireland people say Vivarium, and in the States people say Vivarium.
Okay,
but,
all right.
It's the same movie either way.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So what you have made here is very unique.
Yes,
and I don't want to get too much into spoilers and everything, but I wanted to sort of hear what you how you would summarize this movie.
I would say that it's about a young couple who are trying to buy their first home. They go into an estate agent. They meet a strange guy called Martin who convinces them to follow him out to a brand new development called Yonder. And when they get out to Yonder, all the houses look exactly the same, and it's weird. And they're having a look around a house called Number 9, and they don't like the vibe. They don't think Martin is being kind of strange. They turn around, he's vanished, and they're like, okay, let's get out of here. Jump in the car, and they try and drive out, but because everything looks the same, they can't find their way out. And no matter what way they turn, they keep on pulling up outside the same house, Number 9. And from then on, things get progressively worse for the young couple.
Yeah, okay. I sort of want to try to get into some of the themes of this movie, but I also don't want to spoil too much. So one thing that happens in this is a baby arrives in the when they're sitting there. So they have to decide whether or not they want to take care of this baby or not.
Yeah, a child arrives, and they're given a message to say, raise the child and be released. So for them, they think that if they take care of the child, there may be some way out of the place. But, I mean, thematically, it's about a lot of different things to different people, depending on the audience, depending on, culture also plays a part. Like, the film is played around the world at various film festivals, and different people have different interpretations, and they kind of put themselves in there. But ultimately, it's about conformity and the homogenization of society and a kind of consumer capitalism way of looking at the world and the social contract. So that, like, when we're born into a life where there's expectations already put on you. And a lot of the time, the one-size-fits-all model doesn't always work.
Yeah, it's at that point, Lorcan, where the movie could have gone a million different ways. And it went a completely unexpected one, both in the way that the child performer is portrayed, the way that they interact with each other, the interactions, the performances that you got out of the two leads, Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots, is spectacular. I've never seen either of them act in the way that they act in your movie, and it's really spectacular. And their interaction with each other, I thought, was one of the big strong points of the film.
Yeah, they're great. I was very lucky to have them. The film was, it was difficult to make. We didn't have a huge kind of immense time to make it, so it was all go. But luckily, both Imogen and Jesse were brilliant, and very easy to work with, and very creative and funny as well. I mean, even though it gets quite dark,
right?
we had a great time making it.
That's great.
How much of this? I know that the neighborhood itself is got some CGI to get the infinite look down and everything. Did you have to build a set for one house, or was it just what did you have to do as far as the set production and everything?
Yeah, so I mean, in the script, the place was described as having no wind, no rain. The weather is always the same, and no insects, no nature. It's like completely devoid of nature. So the only way to make it, it was also described as looking like yonder looks like Magritte's painting Empire of Light, which has those kind of fluffy white clouds and blue sky, and it's quite surreal. So we had to build a set, yeah. So we built the facades of 3 houses, not full depth, about like 10 feet wide maybe, or deep. So we had 3 facades, 3 gardens, walls, like some footpath, sidewalk, and a bit of road. So there's only ever one side of the street, which was 3 houses long. So we had to extend that digitally then by scanning the set with a LiDAR scanner and creating 3D from that, and also using 2D map paints and all of that. But it meant every time we were shooting a scene, we'd be shooting into the same background, whether it was either side of the street. So when you're doing a reverse angle, you had to flip everything, flip the car, flip the lights, flip anything that was recognizable as facing one direction.
Yeah.
And take the knife out the door and remove various things in the background. So it was a bit of a little bit like the film itself. It was a bit of a kind of quantum mindfuck.
Yeah, right. I tell you, I know that you're saying that everybody has different interpretations, but my interpretation was that despite the fact that everything is so weird in this movie and the way people act and the child acts and everything, I still felt like it was just basic what people go through when they have a kid. Like even though it's just
yeah.
There is a lot of that for sure.
Yeah, I think life in general. The idea around, to me anyway, was kind of trying to sort of lighten 3 acts in a way. So like the first act of the film is like youth, and they're optimistic and they're full of hope and having a good time together. And then the middle act is like middle age. They're stuck with this child, and they end up arguing about stupid stuff and finding distractions, and the kid coming between them. And then the third act is like regretting having spent so much time apart and reconciling and all of that. So without spoiling what happens at the end, but yeah, so it's kind of like we're trying to show life sort of amplified, a certain type of life, obviously, but amplified, turning the dial up to show the absurdity and the weirdness and the horror of it all.
That's excellent.
Tell me what it was like working with these actors. And not only just Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots, but and I'm sorry, I've lost my note here on who plays Martin. Is it
Jonathan Harris?
Yeah. How was it like working with those people?
They were all great. I mean, we started with. It's the film is really Gemma's film. It's her story.
Yeah.
Even though it's kind of a two-hander between her and Imogen and Jesse. So Imogen came on board first, and then we talked about who would get to play Tom, and then we went through a bunch of names. We talked about Jesse, and she knew Jesse from before, and I thought they'd be really interesting together. So then Jesse came on board, and so they while we were casting the leads, I was also trying to find the boy first, because it was going to be kind of the most challenging role, finding a 7-year-old who can act that way,
right?
And have a certain look. He's almost like a little Pinocchio, perfect child. So we saw a lot of kids, like loads, and most of them were normal 7-year-olds, who just are shy and can't remember lines and stuff. But I got this self-tape sent in from Senan, who it was just like, holy shit, this guy is perfect. We did some of the mimicry in the tape, but he also did the kind of eye rolling back throat thing that he does, and yeah, it was it was like, God, I gotta get this guy in. So he came in, and we did some more scenes, and he completely understood the character, and even had ideas for ways of performing, and yeah, he was great. And then Jonathan Harris, that was a lucky one as well. It was just, we'd seen so many people for that role, and then I got Jonathan's tape, and it was just spot on, pretty much. He just had the right balance of it being funny, creepy, that uncanny valley where you're finding something kind of amusing, but at the same time kind of freaking you out.
Yes, definitely unsettling. That's a very unique character.
Or something. It's just getting a little bit, the giggles go for the fear.
Yeah.
So they were all great, and like when Imogen and Jesse, like one of the first scenes was their scene with Martin, so their reactions to his weirdness were totally genuine.
It's great.
Yeah.
They're surprised by the performance, But the thing with Senan is he was almost too endearing as himself with his own voice. So what we actually did with to manipulate his voice, we've got Jonathan Harris to revoice the little boy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. I was wondering how you did that, because it is so unsettling the way that voice is portrayed.
Yeah.
And it's perfectly synced too. It's not. Yeah. It's got to be tough for actors to play characters like that, because they're not the cool ones in the movie. They're the ones that basically the audience wants to distance themselves from and everything. I don't know how you get them in the headspace to do that.
Which, like Jonathan and Senan and Aina, the boys, or Jesse and Imogen.
Yeah. I was asking the actors who have to play these weird characters. It's got to be hard to get them in that space, because they're not going to be playing the ones that the audience really responds to. You have to get them in this, like, they're constantly weird and alienating.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think that's just that part of the casting process, finding people that are just right for that particular role, and then they really enjoy it. Then they know who they are and why they are like that. I give them some more background as to who these people are, like the kind of species or whatever. So yeah, like Senan, the 7-year-old, went full message. Like in the weeks before shooting, his mom was telling me, he was going around, like they'd be shopping in a supermarket and he'd be copying people.
Oh my God.
Doing it really kind of slow.
Oh no.
So he got really into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Well, Lorcan, I have to say that the movie is so well shot and so beautifully colored and everything. But personally, what I gravitated most to was the music in this, especially the songs that you put in there, especially the song at the end, the Ecstasy song, which is one of my favorite Ecstasy songs, and is now probably one of my favorite closed credit sequences I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that track kind of explains the whole thing. It's just
absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the ska then was kind of the ska track, where it's sort of a way of contrasting, the first track, Rudy, obviously has a lot of lines in there about, that are thematically related to the film. Time to settle down, stop your running around, all that stuff. But it also contrasts, I think, really weirdly with the environment. This sort of Jamaican vintage ska that they listen to in the car.
Yeah.
Juxtaposed to this very homogenous cookie cutter setting. But the original music was all done by a Danish composer called Christian Andersen, and I think he did a brilliant job. creating, because he did the sound design as well. So the sound design kind of morphs between sound design and turning into music and back into sound design. And it gets quite intense with them. But it's still, to me anyway, it's very original.
Yes.
And sort of anxiety inducing.
Yes. Very much so.
What's the story behind the programming that's on the TV that the kid watches in this movie? It's very staticky, very ink blotty, and everything.
Yeah, it's a reaction diffusion pattern, which is like fractal based pattern, which looks similar to housing developments from above. It's usually how developers will try and squeeze in as many houses into a space as possible. They use a kind of fractal pattern. So when the kid is watching that, it's like he's learning, he's being educated by the TV, which isn't a million miles from what happens anyway in the real world. And the parents can't understand what it is that he's looking at, which is also what happens in the real world.
I got completely lost in it. I was sitting there finding myself watching that thing, just going down into the rabbit hole.
Well, he has the same expression as a quote normal kid would have while watching Blue's Clues or SpongeBob or something like that. That kind of vacuous type of thing where you're just being absorbed by it.
Yeah. He just sits there happily watching these pulsating fractal patterns.
I tell you, I really do relate to this Jesse Eisenberg character in this movie, just because he's set up to do a task in this movie that is basically doomed to fail. And every day he comes home, quote unquote, it's like he's coming back from work.
Right.
And I really love the symbolism of what he does in this and everything. His work is symbolic, I think, of a lot of people who are just doing normal jobs.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much, yeah. Get up in the morning, head out, and hopefully get to the bottom at some stage.
Yeah, they're all. It seems like people are conforming to roles, even against their wishes. You can tell there's a refrain that Imogen Poots' character Jemma repeats over and over to the child, almost to remind herself that she is not his mother. But they still find themselves conforming to those kind of societal roles anyway.
Yeah, it's like the place and the boy push them towards these gender roles.
Right.
And he manipulates them to take care of them one way or another. And when Tom sort of rejects them completely, he's able to use that to manipulate Gemma's maternal instincts. So, yeah, it's like the place itself pushes people towards these roles and the societal norms and stuff like that, or so-called norms.
By the way, so Lorcan, you wrote this screenplay, correct?
No, the writer is Garrett Shanley. So we share a story by credit because we work on stories together, but he's the screenwriter. So we worked on this together for a few years, and we made a short film together, which was kind of the catalyst for this film. In like 2011, and then the first feature that we did together was Without Name, which is 2016. So this is our third project together.
Wow. And Without Name is, we both seen this, Chris and I have seen this, and you certainly have a genre of not being straightforward narratives, like a bit of a mindfuck in both of those features.
Yeah. I think Without Name is probably a little bit more abstract.
Yes.
I'm amazed you guys not only like about 10 people have seen Without Name.
Oh, I very much enjoyed Without Name.
Oh, right, cool. You obviously like trippy movies.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great fun to make. We were actually, like, VIVARIUM was supposed to be my first feature, but it took it took a good while to finance, like years to finance. So while we were waiting for all of that to happen, we made Without Name as a kind of a low budget, eco horror, folk horror, to amuse ourselves. So it was quite a liberating experience making that film, because there's no real financial pressure from anybody for it to be some sort of big hit.
So half the budget went to the mushrooms?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's the thing about Without Name. I just wanted to go out there and just soak into that nature that he's in. I mean, I totally believe everything that happens to this guy when he's out there.
Mm.
I think anyone who's taken mushrooms can really relate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, I don't want to spoil too much about this movie. I'm saying people should go watch it because it is unique, and you don't get to see these kind of singular visions very often. And so, yeah, I do respectfully want to ask you so many more questions about this movie. But I think people really should see it. Even the stuff we've said today, I'm like, you don't want to know any of that either, but
it will still surprise you in many different ways. Lorcan, can I ask you what's coming up next for you?
Yeah, I'm actually just about to start into a new project. We're just about to start casting, called Nocebo, which is the opposite to a placebo. It's like a placebo's evil twin.
Nocebo.
Nocebo, yeah. It's Latin for I will harm. So it's about a fashion designer in London and a Filipino nanny, and how their lives become kind of intertwined. She's suffering from a mysterious illness and needs help. She thinks that she may have something similar to chronic Lyme disease, because she got a tick bite when this spectral dog turned up at a fashion show, and she is finding her life difficult with her job and raising her child. She hires a nanny from the Philippines who uses traditional Filipino folk remedies to cure her, and they're very placebo based. But through the process of curing her, we discover a horrifying truth about what it is that was really making her real. So it's kind of taking aim at the fast fashion industry and the exploitation of the East by the West.
Mm-hmm.
Is this is horror kind of like your sweet spot? Like, is this the genre in which you're most comfortable in, or are you interested in doing like a broad comedy or something like that?
Well, maybe not a broad comedy, but I started out in comedy. That's kind of where like the first things I made were all comedy-based things and sketches and stuff. And I worked for a comedy company in London. It was my first job.
Oh, wow.
But I find horror and comedy, like there's that sort of uncanniness I find are quite similar. You don't know why you find something funny. You just react. You don't really know why you find something scary all the time. You just react. So I find that they're kind of connected in a weird way. So, I mean, like some of VIVARIUM, I think, is pretty funny.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
It's also pretty horrific.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is more of a supernatural. The new one is more of a supernatural thriller, which is good fun. There's some funny bits in it, but it gets pretty scary. But yeah, I don't know. We the very first project Garrett and I actually met to do was a comedy. It's comedy sci-fi, but we were kind of too ambitious as the very first thing. It was way too expensive. I don't know. We might do a comedy at some stage, but it would probably still be weird.
So what is the how are people going to see VIVARIUM, and when is it coming out?
It's supposed to be coming out in theaters on the 27th
of
July, but as we know, theaters aren't going to be out there yet. They're all just closed now. So it was a day and date plan anyway. So we're going straight to digital VOD on the 27th of March.
Okay.
So pretty soon.
So people will be able to see this. We're coming out with this probably in the next couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it'll be out in the next few days after this is published. This podcast comes out.
Welcome distraction. A welcome noodle baker of a distraction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. Hopefully people will watch it at home.
Yeah. Lorcan, we very much enjoyed this film. I hope continued success and everything. And I'm going to tell everybody to go watch this.
Thanks so much. Much appreciated. And hopefully I'll talk to you again about the next film.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely want to talk to you on your next film because that sounds interesting as well. All right. Well, that was Lorcan Finnegan. Appreciate you coming on and talking about this movie. And we'll hopefully talk to you soon.
Go see Vivarium.
Either way.
Vivive, yes.
Either one.
Thank you so much for your time, Lorcan. This was a delight talking to you.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for listening. Comment on our episodes on our SoundCloud page. Check us out on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Reddit. And be sure to visit Cinemasins.com.